Welcome to today's class where we'll delve into the fascinating world of cognitive development in infants and young children. We'll cover key topics including Piaget's theory, information processing, Vygotsky's perspective, and language development. By the end of the session, you'll be able to answer important questions about these stages in development. So let's get started. According to Piaget, how do schemes, assimilation, accommodation provide the foundation for cognitive development? Well, Piaget believed that cognitive development is built upon schemes which are mental structures that organize knowledge. Assimilation occurs when new information is incorporated into existing schemes, while accommodation happens when schemes are modified based on new experiences. Together, these processes enable children to develop their environment and develop more complex understanding. So, how does thinking become more advanced, I should say, during the sensory motor stage? Well, the sensory motor stage goes from about birth to 2 years. Infants learn about the world through their senses and actions during this stage. They develop objects' permanence and understanding that objects continue to exist even when they are out of sight, and begin to engage in goal-directed activities and problem solving. The pre-operational stage from 2 years to 7 years is marked by symbolic thinking, egocentrism, and animism. Children in this stage use symbols such as words and images to represent objects and experiences. However, their thinking is still limited by an inability to see things from others' perspectives, which is egocentrism, and the belief that inanimate objects have lifelike qualities, which is animism. So, moving forward, what are some criticisms of Piaget's theory? Well, critics argue that Piaget underestimated children's cognitive abilities and that his stages are too rigid. Research has shown that children can demonstrate advanced thinking earlier than Piaget suggested. Additionally, Piaget's theory does not account for the influence of cultural and social factors on cognitive development. So how have contemporary researchers extended Piaget's theory? Well, contemporary researchers have built upon Piaget's work by incorporating findings from neuroscience and focusing on the role of social interaction in cognitive development. They have also emphasized the importance of continuous development rather than distinct stages. The information processing approach compares human thinking to computer processing. It focuses on how children take in, store, and retrieve information, emphasizing the mechanisms of attention, memory, and problem solving, which means this is the basis of information processing approach. So how well do young children pay attention? Well, young children's attention spans are shorter than adults, and they are more easily distracted. However, their ability to focus improves with age and experience, particularly when they are engaged in activities they find interesting. Infants learn through habituation, classical conditioning, and operant conditioning. Habituation includes becoming less responsive to repeated stimuli, while classical conditioning pairs stimuli to elicit responses. Operant conditioning involves learning from the consequences of actions. Oh, too far. So, do children who are infants and preschoolers remember? The answer to that question is yes. Infants and preschoolers have the memory capabilities. Infants can remember simple actions and events, and their memory improves significantly during early childhood. By preschool age, children can recall past experiences and use their memory strategies, although their memory is still developing. In terms of numbers, infants have basic understandings of quantity and can distinguish between different numbers and objects. By preschool age, children begin to grasp counting principles and perform simple arithmetic tasks. So let's move on forward to Vygotsky. Mind and culture, Vygotsky's theory. So what is the zone of proximal development, ZPD? This is the range of tasks that a child can perform when with the help and guidance of others, but cannot yet perform independently. It highlights the potential for cognitive development through social interaction. Why is scaffolding a particularly effective way for teaching youngsters new concepts and skills? Well, that's because scaffolding involves providing support to a child as they learn new skills, gradually reducing assistance as a child becomes more competent. This approach is effective because it builds on the child's current capabilities and promotes independence. So, last question for Vygotsky. Why do children talk to themselves as they solve problems? Well, children often engage in self-talk or private speech as a way to guide their thinking and actions. Vygotsky believed that this self-directed speech helps children organize their thoughts and problem-solving strategies, eventually becoming internalized as silent inner speech. So whenever we're talking about language development, when do infants first hear and make speech sounds? Well, infants begin to hear speech sounds in the womb and can recognize their mother's voice at birth. They start making cooing sounds around 2 months and babbling around 6 months, experimenting with different sounds. When do children learn new words and word meanings? Well, children experience a rapid increase in vocabulary, known as the vocabulary spurt, around 18 to 24 months. They learn new words through social interactions and by mapping words into objects and actions. And whenever we're considering grammar, young children learn grammar through exposure to language and practice. By listening to others, they pick up on patterns and rules. They start forming simple sentences around 2 years and gradually use more complex grammatical structures as they get older. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of technical difficulty there. Finally, wrapping up this class, whenever we're considering how well the youngsters communicate, we can consider young children can communicate effectively by using gestures, words, and sentences. As they grow, their ability to express themselves and understand others improves, enhancing their social interactions and learning experiences. This wraps up today's class. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day.